Postsenching, 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 postsenching. Post-synchronization, 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 post-synchronization. Post-synchronize, 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 post-synchronize. Postulant, 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 postulant. Posturer, 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 posturer. Post-war, 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 post-war. Posy, 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 posy. Pot barley, pot barley, pot barley, pot barley. Pot cheese, pot cheese, pot cheese, pot cheese. Pot shot, pot shot, pot shot, pot shot. Baking powder, baking powder, baking powder, baking powder. Potable, 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 potable. Potage, 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 potage. Potash fertilizer, potash fertilizer, potash fertilizer, potash fertilizer. Potash mica, potash mica, potash mica, potash mica. Potash, 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 potash. Potassium bromide, potassium bromide, potassium bromide, potassium bromide. Potassium carbonate, potassium carbonate, potassium carbonate, potassium carbonate. Potassium chloride, potassium chloride, potassium chloride, potassium chloride. Potassium cyanide, potassium cyanide, potassium cyanide, potassium cyanide. Baking soda, baking soda, baking soda, baking soda. Potassium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. Potassium nitrate, potassium nitrate, potassium nitrate, potassium nitrate. Potassium permanganate, potassium permanganate, potassium permanganate, potassium permanganate. Potassium sulfate, potassium sulfate, potassium sulfate, potassium sulfate. Potassium, 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 potassium. Potato beetle, potato beetle, potato beetle, potato beetle. Potato chip, potato chip, potato chip, potato chip. Potato starch, potato starch, potato starch, potato starch. Potato, 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 potato. Pot-bellied, 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 pot-bellied. Baking temperature, baking temperature, baking temperature, baking temperature. Potbelly, 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 potbelly. Potboy, 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 potboy. Pachine, 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 pachine. Potency, 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 potency. Potentate, 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 potentate. Potential coefficient, potential coefficient, potential coefficient, potential coefficient. Potential coil, potential coil, potential coil, potential coil. Potential difference, potential difference, potential difference, potential difference. Potential energy, potential energy, potential energy, potential energy. Baking, 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 baking. Potential equation, potential equation, potential equation, potential equation. Potential trough, potential trough, potential trough, potential trough, potential well, potential well, potential well, potential well, potentiality, 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 potentiometer, 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 potentiometric, 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 pothead, 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 potherb, 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 backsheesh, 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 pothole, 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 pothook, 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 potion, 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 potpourri, 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 potsherd, 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 potshot, 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 potter about, potter about, potter about, potter about, potter, 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 potter's wheel, potter's wheel, potter's wheel, potter's wheel, balalaika, 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 pottery, 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 pottle, 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 potty about, potty about, potty about, potty about, pouch, 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 poof, 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 polt, 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 polterer, 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 poultice, 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 balance arm, balance arm, balance arm, balance arm, poultry farm, poultry farm, poultry farm, poultry farm, poultry house, poultry house, poultry house, poultry house, poultry husbandry, poultry husbandry, poultry husbandry, poultry husbandry, poultry raising, poultry raising, poultry raising, poultry raising, poultry yard, poultry yard, poultry yard, poultry yard, poultry, 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 pound a beat, pound a beat, pound a beat, pound a beat, pound into a jelly, pound into a jelly, pound into a jelly, pound into a jelly, balance of a debt, balance of a debt, balance of a debt, balance of a debt, pound the pavement, pound the pavement, pound the pavement, pound the pavement, poundage, 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 poundle, 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 pour cold water on, pour cold water on, pour cold water on, pour cold water on, pour money down the drain, 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 pour oil on troubled water, 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 pour one's heart out, pour one's heart out, pour one's heart out, pour one's heart out, pour out, pour out, pour out, pour out, balance of current account, balance of current account, balance of current account, balance of current account, pouring funnel, pouring funnel, pouring funnel, pouring funnel, pouring, 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 pout, 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 poverty trap, poverty trap, poverty trap, poverty trap, poverty, 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 poverty-stricken, 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 powder flask, powder flask, powder flask, powder flask, powder horn, powder horn, powder horn, powder horn, powder magazine, powder magazine, powder magazine, powder magazine, powder puff, powder puff, powder puff, powder puff, balance of payments, balance of payments, balance of payments, balance of payments, powder room, powder room, powder room, powder room, powdered milk, powdered milk, powdered milk, powdered milk, powdered sugar, powdered sugar, powdered sugar, powdered sugar, powdery snow, powdery snow, powdery snow, powdery snow, powdery, 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 power amplifier, power amplifier, power amplifier, power amplifier, powerboat, 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 power brake, power brake, power brake, power brake, power cable, power cable, power cable, power cable, balance of powers, balance of powers, balance of powers, balance of powers, power coefficient, power coefficient, power coefficient, power coefficient, power consumption, power consumption, power consumption, power consumption, power control rod, power control rod, power control rod, power control rod, power control, power control, power control, power control, power current, power current, power current, power current, power cut, power cut, power cut, power cut, power density, power density, power density, power density, power detector, power detector, power detector, power detector, power diode, power diode, power diode, power diode, power dissipation, power dissipation, power dissipation, power dissipation, balance of services, balance of services, balance of services, balance of services,